Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the DUI Guy Live. Today, for absolutely no reason, we are actually going to be reading one of my favorite books, which I've actually never read. So, reading for the first time Curious George by H.A. Ray. Y'all buckle down. Curious George by H.A. Ray. This is George. He lives in Africa. He was very happy, but he had one fault. He was too curious. You can see George over there with the banana enjoying himself in the trees of Africa, just minding his own business. One day, George saw a man. He had on a large yellow straw hat. See, it makes me think that George has never actually seen a man with a man, period, probably, let alone with a large yellow straw hat. And the man saw George too. So they saw each other. What a nice little monkey, he thought. I would like to take him home with me. What a selfish man. What did George do to you? The man put his hat on the ground. Is that bait? He's baiting George. Not cool. Not cool. The man put his hat on the ground, and of course, George was curious. He came down from the tree to look at the large yellow hat. Now, the question becomes, did the yellowness of the hat attract George because there was a similar yellowness in the bananas that he was eating? It's a question to ponder. I'm not exactly sure. Let's read on. The hat had been on the man's head, as we can clearly see. George thought it would be nice to have it on his own head. He picked it up and put it on. So George, being the curious little creature that he is, decides to pick it up and put it on his head. Put it on his cute little head, not realizing what's about to happen. Like I said, it's a trap. The hat covered George's head, and he could not see. The man picked him up quickly and popped him into a bag. What a selfish bastard! George was caught. Look at him here. I feel so bad. Why would he do this to George? I don't understand. Selfishness, right? The man with the big yellow hat had selfish reasons. He saw monkey. He said, me want monkey. Me trap monkey. Me take monkey with me back home. The man with the big yellow hat put George into a little boat, and a sailor rowed them both across the water to a big ship. George was sad. I empathize with George. I feel what he's going through. He has literally just been, well, a Class B felony has been committed against him. He has been kidnapped from his home, put into a bag. First of all, he was entrapped by a big yellow hat. Then he was placed into a bag, and now he is being taken God knows where, to a completely unfamiliar place. Thank you, Sarah. Poor George. So George was sad, naturally so, being kidnapped. And I think we should all put out wanted posters for the man in the big yellow hat. Somebody will need to make a drawing of a face with a big yellow hat. Wanted for Class B felony, kidnapping, and unlawful imprisonment. One is a Class B felony. The other is a Class C felony, carrying somewhere between 5 to 10 years and 10 or more years for the kidnapping. We need wanted posters. We need to find George, get George back. But George, even though he was sad, see, George looks at the cup half full. He doesn't look at the cup half empty. He was still a little curious. Where am I going? Why am I being hauled off? What adventure awaits me? George is actually a fascinating character. Like I wasn't joking when I said I've never read this before. I mean, we've all seen the cartoon, I imagine, right? I think I've probably seen it when I was younger. Let me just step out of character for a second as I say this. Um, I legitimately can't think. I mean, I know I've seen bits and pieces, but I don't think I ever like sat through a whole cartoon of Curious George start to finish. I know there's like an hour long PBS special. I think looking for this book, I think I found it on accident. But I don't think I've never read the book. I can promise you that. So anyway, this is all fresh to me. So I'm kind of, George is actually psychologically, he really is looking at the situation as a glass half full, which is kind of fascinating. He has just been kidnapped from his home, put into a bag after being entrapped into it due to his curiosity. And I wonder, it seems like the man in the big yellow hat just met George, right? So did he know that George is curious, or did he like assume George is naturally curious because he's a monkey and this is not something that he's ever seen before? And he assumed that just like a person not seeing something that they've never seen before would approach the situation with curiosity, like, what is that? I have never seen that before. Let me go investigate. Now, I think it's a stretch to assume that George would actually, a monkey would take a hat and put it on their head. Although you never know, it's very possible. Um, as- Jade is like, as a child when I read this book, I never looked at it as a kidnapping. Um, I guess neither would have I had I read it. So, despite the fact that George is being sad, hauled off in this little boat taken over to the ship, he was still a little curious. On the big ship, let's read on, things began to happen. Okay, pause. WTF? What things? Why are you leading me like this, book? You can't just be like things began to happen. Like I know it's a children's book, but you can't like lead with that. Now like what things? What started to happen? How big is this ship? I have so many questions. This is completely unfair. The man took off the bag, I guess off of George. Why didn't the book just say he took George out of the bag? Why does it makes it feel like he is undressing George from the bag? Like it's very almost perverted. He took off the bag off of George to reveal his physique and his hairy legs and his hairy everything. This is getting weird. George sat on a little stool. Okay. And the man said, George, I'm going to take you to a big zoo. Oh, I'm taking you to prison, George. I just fucking kidnapped you, unlawfully imprisoned you, and I'm transporting you to a bigger prison. Ah, how awesome. Phenomenal. And look at George. He's smiling like, I get to be an exhibit. Am I going to be exhibit number 17 or I'd like to be higher on the hierarchical scale. So when people see like I'm the first exhibit, so when their emotional reservoirs are still at capacity, they get to enjoy my nature rather than if I'm like all the way in the back, then they don't get to experience the beauty that is Curious George. So, Mr. Yellow Big Hat Man, if you don't mind, please put me somewhere in the front of your prison because that way I'm like more presentable and I would be in kind of like a little bit more probably peppier nature. I will attract people to your zoo. You can probably raise your ticket prices now that I'm at your zoo, by the way. Yeah, I think Curious George is a great addition to the prison. I mean zoo. I mean prison zoo, whatever. Moving on. George, the man in the yellow big hat, said, I am going to take you to a big zoo in a big city and you will like it there. When was this book written? 1920? It has to have been, right? It's very direct. There is no like, I hope that you like it there. Very like 2022. I hope and pray that you will enjoy your experience while you're sitting at my prison unwillingly. You're gonna like it there, Sonny George. Um, but don't get into any trouble. So now he's threatening the poor thing. George promised to be good. Why? But it is easy for little monkeys to forget. Uh-oh. Foreshadowing. We have our first foreshadowing, ladies and gentlemen. Foreshadowing. I think George is going to be bad. Just predicting. Not saying anything. I'm not saying anything yet, okay? I'm not saying anything yet. But I have a premonition. George is going to forget to be good. I said it. I'm sorry. I said it. Okay? Cat's out of the bag. George is out of the bag. Yep. Okay, let's read on. I can't wait to see what happens. On the deck, he found some seagulls. George? I assume George, not the man in the hat. See, now who's he? I even as a kid, I think I would be like, okay, I'm looking at the pictures above, but what if there are no pictures? Who's he? He found some seagulls. George, the man in the big yellow hat. Who's he? Who is he referring to? Who is he modifying? Because the last person we heard from was, well, touche. George promised to be good, but it's easy for little monkeys to forget. Okay, so it's still talking about George, I suppose. Although I would be confused because why would they let George out on the deck? I mean, he's a flight risk. The poor thing has just been fucking kidnapped, placed on a boat, loaded onto a ship. Why would you release him on deck? He'd be like, all right, this is my Hail Mary moment. I have a chance to escape. Why would they let him out on the deck in the first place? This is bizarre. He wondered how they could fly because he wants to escape. He wants out. He's like, I don't like this shit. How do I get out of here? He wondered how they could fly because he's like, I wonder. He was very curious. Again, he was curious. There's a theme here. There's a theme. I'm not exactly sure what the theme is yet. It's not curiosity. It's not curiosity. He was very curious. Finally, he had to try. Uh-oh. Please don't tell me he falls into the water. I'm going to be very upset if George falls into the water. Because that's how he can drown. Monkeys can probably swim, but he's in the middle of the ocean. Exactly. Kidnapping, trafficking in exotic animals. Where's Joe Exotic when you need him? Written in 1941. Okay, so like in the middle. Wow. Pre-United States entering World War II or post? Jade. Fuck, we're about to do some history research on this. Hey man, your guess is as good as mine. Written in 1941. I wonder if this was like before the United States entered into the war or after. Like not like it's really going to make a difference, but it may add some thematic value to our storyline here. Anyway, let's read on. It looked easy, but oh, what happened? First, yeah, oh, fucking shit. All right. The one thing I asked not to happen happened. This is very upsetting. First, this. It looks like he's flying with the birds. And then this. And he dunked himself. And the birds are just like, heh heh. Why are they laughing at him? This is very upsetting. George, I hope you know how to swim. Where is George? Who's the speaker, by the way? Is it the man in the big yellow hat? Is it one of the sailors? Is it the captain? Who is the speaker here? And why does it look like the boat has sunk from that drawing, by the way? Unless I'm missing something, it looks like a deck with um, a ladder. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word for a second. I'm so upset over losing George. I can't. Words elude me. Um, it looks like the boat is like like half underwater. I don't know. This is a weird drawing. Might want to polish up on your skills there, Mr. Artist. Where is George? The sailors looked and looked. At last, they saw him struggling in the water and almost all tired out. Like, are you kidding me? First, you entrap him, then you kidnap him, then you imprison him, promising further imprisonment upon arrival, followed by losing him, followed by, I don't know, I would call this attempted murder. Okay. Tiring him out. Now he's nearly dead, nearly drowned. I mean, how many felonies can you commit in the first? How many pages is this? This is like the first third of the book. I just literally can't. I can't, you guys. This is upsetting beyond belief. What is this? They drag him out of the water and he's like spewing fish. So now you're depriving him of his lunch. That's got to be another crime. He's trying to eat, the poor thing. You probably haven't fed him enough. Man overboard! The sailors cried as they threw him a life belt. George caught it and held on, probably with the last bits of strength he fucking had, because you released a wild, exotic animal on your deck without supervision, you idiot. God. I was hoping to read a fun little book. Look what this turned into. Hi, Zinni. I'm okay. I'm okay. I promise. I'm okay. I'm just upset for George. The level of criminality that has occurred for Curious George is completely beyond belief. I have no words. At last, he was safe on board. Whoop-de fucking do. I don't care. You've already done so many atrocities. This is a crime against humanity. I don't care that George is an animal. He's a person in my book. He can be a man. He can be a woman. He can be a male, female. I don't care. George could be a woman's name. George, I think, is all of us. George is all of us. We've been thrown overboard. We've been tired out. And at the last second before fucking drowning, yeah, here you go. Fine. Here's a life belt. Yeah, we were looking for you. We're looking for you. Kinda. We forgot about you. We let you loose on the deck, and then your dumbass decided to jump overboard trying to fucking fly. So yeah, we decided to kind of sort of look for you, and unfortunately, we found you. Here's the lifeboat. If I can get back on. This is the most depressing children's story I've read probably ever. Maybe for good reason that I'd never read Curious George as a kid. No offense to anybody who read it, but good God, why is it so terrifying? This is a terrifying tale of woe and utter criminality. All right, I'm gonna try to calm down. Where's Zinnia when you need her? Zinni. I don't know where she is. After that, George was more careful to be a good monkey until at last the long trip was over. More foreshadowing? Long trip was over? Like that's a hell of a way to put it. Not we finally arrived at our destination. Well, he knows he's going to prison as soon as they arrive, so I guess you want it to be long, right? George said goodbye, misspelled, to the kind sailors, although maybe back in 1941, I mean, granted, it was 81 years ago, certain words were spelled differently. I don't know. Maybe it's just this particular version. George said goodbye to the kind sailors, and he and the man with the yellow hat walked off the ship onto the shore and on into the city to the man's house. Okay, so before I put you in prison, I'm going to show you where I live so you can see what sort of luxuries you will miss out on for the rest of your life. How kind of you, you fucking asshole. Hi, Zinni. Oh, she brought her toy. I know. We'll play in a minute. So this is where I live, George. This is what a beautiful, gorgeous house that you will never live in looks like. And these are the amenities that you will never have and this is the delicious food that you will taste once I'll never have again at my home tastes like. Like, what the fuck? This is what you could have had. Yeah. Oh my God, he's brainwashing the poor thing. And he's teaching him how to smoke? What? Okay. All right. Curious George is being fucking groomed, you guys. He's giving him a good meal after a good meal and a good pipe. So he's introducing him to drugs. Tobacco is a drug. He's giving him good food that he's probably never going to taste again. And then he's probably going to have this little carrot stick thing going on with George. Another premonition. Don't say I didn't say it. He's going to say, George, if you're good and you attract enough people to my zoo, I promise that I will, bring you back here and you will have these luxuries once again. I swear, this is disgusting. He crawled into bed, a very comfy one by the looks of it, and fell asleep at once. Wait, did I read the final line? George felt very tired. Yeah, of course you're going to be tired after a long trip. And I mean, I don't know. What did he put in that pipe? That's another good question, right, chat? What did he put in that pipe? Is it peyote? Is it tobacco? Is it marijuana? Is it meth? I mean, what the hell? Did he put some crystal in there? Like, here you go, George, smoke up. You'll be fine. And George is like fucking tweaking there for an hour and a half. And then he's like, all right, I feel a little tired. I don't know. We don't have those images. Those images have been concealed by I don't know. Oh shit. He crawled into bed and fell asleep at once. Yeah. The meth wore off. Must have been pot. It put him to sleep. Either pot or peyote. What else would knock you out so quickly that you can smoke? Not salvia. What can you smoke that depresses? What is the central nervous system depress? He fucking drugged him, is what I'm trying to say. The next morning, The man telephoned the zoo. George watched him. Yeah, because he's like, I want to make sure I get as much data and information about this whole thing. So if I can already like plan my escape. Does he escape in the end? Please tell me he does. If he stays at the zoo, if the story ends, I swear to God, if the story ends with him staying in prison, in the zoo, prison, whatever, I am going to be very upset. George was roofied. What? Wait. There it is. George was roofied. Oh my god. I forgot about that. Roofies. That's right. GHB or what's another roofie? I don't know. That's the only one I learned about in high school. GHB nicknamed, what did they call it? I forget. There was one nickname. It was like Georgia Homeboy. I don't know. 10th grade health class was no joke. Like back out of character again. Um, 10th grade health class, you guys, for me personally, I remember things from that class that have carried me through the years. I was, what, 16 at the time? It was like 18 years ago. It was literally almost 2 decades ago. I still remember like 80%. I've retained like 80% of the stuff I learned in that class. It was one of the most educational classes I have ever had in my entire life. We covered everything from like drugs to cancer to sex to like what did we not cover? Like anything health related with the body was all reproduction and like birth control and um, like what different types of drugs are and what they do and how they destroy the body. Like no joke, it's straight up. Anyway, no spoilers. I'm not. Please, chat. No spoilers. I'm gonna ignore chat for a second. I wanna keep reading this. This is getting intense. So, the man in the yellow big hat is looking at up to about 80 years in prison if we run consecutive, give or take, with the amount of felonies he's committed thus far. If this were in Kentucky, pretty much any state, I think, he's looking at definitely like life in prison without the possibility of parole. Like no question. The next morning, the man telephoned the zoo and George watched him. He was fascinated because he's curious. See, I knew there was a theme here. I wasn't sure what it was, but I think I finally got it. He was fascinated. Then the man went away. And George was curious. Hi, Zinni. He wanted to telephone too. He wanted to be like the man. He doesn't want to go to the zoo. He wants to show the man in the yellow big hat, in the big yellow hat, that I can be like you too, sir. I don't blame him. And what if the man in the big yellow hat comes back and he's like, "Wow, George is actually like straight up like me. Like maybe I don't need to put him in my zoo prison, and he can be like my assistant and answer phone calls, take notes. That would be a turn. I would be okay with that." George was curious. He wanted to telephone too. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. What fun! First of all, how does George know numbers? And how does George know what the numbers look like? I'm starting to get the picture that George is not a monkey at all. He's actually a human being because he knows way too much stuff about stuff, other than the flying part. Because he looked at the birds and he was like, let me try that. Maybe he was drugged up then too. I don't know. We're missing details here, you guys. There's a lot of stuff unsaid. Time for Curious George Part 2, I swear. Like, we need a sequel. George fights back. He comes back with a fucking AK-47 and he's like, "Where's the man in the yellow big hat? I would like to speak to him because we got to get to the chopper. And if we don't get to the chopper, then we're going to not have a good time. So where's the man in the yellow big hat?" That's right. I have questions, Gen B. I have questions. Ding ling 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 ling. George had telephoned the fire station. The fire station's phone number is 1234567. What the fuck? This is 1941? And why does that telephone look like Elmo having an orgasm? Is it just me? Do you guys see that? Am I hallucinating? I'm trying to zoom in here. Just an observation. Like, what? Elmo, is that you? Is that you, Elmo? Elmo, what are you doing in 19... Was Elmo alive in 1941?
I'm Elmo. I'm gonna pretend to be a telephone in this cartoon of Curious George.
Sounded more like a Mickey Mouse trying to be Elmo.
Ha! Hello, everybody. Say hello to my friend Goofy.
Oh. You can't unsee it now. It's the fire station. The firemen rushed to the telephone. Hello? Hello, they said, but there was no answer. I mean, George, you could have at least been like, like try something. Don't just stay silent, George. Silence is death. Sorry. Then they looked for the signal on the big map that showed where the telephone call had come from. They didn't know it was George. Of course they didn't. How could they? Hey, listen, we got a fire call, Marshal. Yeah? We're thinking of not going. And why is that, Jack? Well, we think a monkey made the phone call. Yeah, it sounds about reasonable. Yep. Ignore call. Let's everybody stay put. I think we're good. All right. Later, Jack. Yeah, it sounds like a reasonable conversation. No, it's not. They thought it was a real fire, naturally. Hurry. The firemen jumped on their fire engines and onto the hook and ladders. Ding dong, everybody out of the way. Hurry. Zinnia is like, who's in this house and why are they in here, and get them out of here? I am terrified. No, she's calm, but she's very confused. I will say that. All right. The firemen rushed into the house. They opened the door. No fire. Only monkey. Suspicious. Only a naughty little monkey. Oh, catch him, they cried. Why? Why are they trying to catch him? George tried to run away. He almost did, but he got caught in a telephone wire. Ooh. And a thick... Why are they arresting the First of all, okay, I have more questions. Question number one. Why are they arresting the telephone along with George himself? I guess the telephone partook in the commission of the false alarm phone call to the fire department. So the phone is getting fucking arrested. Secondly, The arresting officers are firemen? Why are firemen? They don't have arrest powers unless. I actually learned this the other day. Uh, in Kentucky, a fire marshal, is that what you call them? Firemen and women? You call them policemen, firemen? I don't know. Um, the fire marshal is the one that goes around and like talks about, puts up the sign, the capacity. That's the fire marshal. But the fire people, okay, let's just call them fire people. I don't know what they're called. The fire people only have arrest powers if they believe you've committed the crime of, like, they see you setting a fire to something. Like, they can arrest you for that. Believe it or not. Fire people do have arrest powers, but only if they see you committing a crime of fire. So in theory, because let's say George is presumably suspected of committing the crime of reporting a false fire, I guess they would be the rightful people to place him under arrest, I suppose, along with the telephone. Any of you watch Disenchantment? Lucy, is that you? Lucy teleported back in time to 1941. Lucy, you're missing the bottom part of your body. Exactly. The man in the yellow hat was literally in the next room. Like, what the fuck is going on here? All right. Excuse me, a thin fireman caught one arm, and a fat fireman. Wow, way to be politically correct, Hayes, or Rays, whatever your name is. I've already forgot. Sorry. The author of our book. Wow. A thin one and a fat one caught each arm. You fooled the fire department, they said. Both of them at the same time? Are they like Siamese fucking twins? What is going on here? They both spoke at the same time? Like, did they know what the other person is going to say? Are they telepathic? Do they have ESP? I have more questions. We will have to shut you up. Wow, you're super nice. Where you can't do any more harm. So we're going to place you in a cell along with the fucking telephone next to you. Now the rats are going to be making phone calls? Like, what's going on here? I have more questions. This is obscene. This is fucking obscene. Are the mice going to be like having a conference like, all right, you guys. Neither George nor us understands numbers, but I have a proposition. Listen, Sally, sit down, okay? We'll talk later. We have a brand new fucking telephone in the cell. Will you mind your business for just 5 seconds, Sally? I'm trying to get work done here. I have been slaving for the last 3 days watching over our 3 little baby mice. Will you please let me lead this session, Sally? Okay? Just one time. This is all I ask. We have a beautiful red telephone that we can use for our purposes. Maybe we can phone someone finally to get out of this fucking shithole. See, George is a transient. He's going to be in and out of here probably in a couple of days. The man in the big yellow hat is probably going to get him. But we are stuck here, okay? I cannot knock. My teeth are raw from having to knock fucking concrete for the last week and a half. I can't take it. I can only take so much of this. So please just give me this 5 minutes of let's figure out this fucking telephone thing, okay? And then we can have a conversation, okay, Sal? Thank you. Okay. George looks very sad. They took him away and shut him in a prison. So the zoo wasn't bad enough. Now he's in prison on top of everything. Also, no, it's probably just like my eyes playing tricks on me, but it being 1941, right? You're always thinking like World War II and Nazi Germany. My eyes are probably playing tricks on me, but tell me that doesn't kind of like not really, but it just kind of has the aura of a swastika. I don't know. It's a feeling. I can't like see it. Obviously, it's not a swastika is very very exact in the way that it's drawn and designed. But disagree with me, chat, or I don't know. Why does it feel like it has a very like this right here has a very Nazistic aura in the coloring. The jail bars, yeah. We got like the red circle, also Japan. Somebody said in the chat, we got the red circle. Like no joke, I'm being straight up right now. Um, I can't highlight, but it looks like the flag of Japan also, doesn't it? Is the author Jewish? I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters if the author is Jewish or not. Um, all that matters is like what it. I don't know. I see like literally just by looking at it, I see like a swastika kind of sort of with the jail bars, and a Japanese flag, and we know, obviously they're both part of the Axis. Um, I might be grasping as listen. I'm just pointing out an observation. You're free to fucking disagree. I don't care. It's just an observation for a banana for George in jail. Thanks, Jen. Um, I don't know. Like I said, feel free to disagree. I am just throwing my 2 cents out there. George wanted to get out. Yeah, no shit. He climbed up to the window to try the bars. Smart man. He knows where the exit is. Potential exit. Or woman. Just then, the watchman came in. He got to the wooden bed to catch George, but the watchman was too big and heavy. Well, yeah, you move the damn thing and you're standing literally on the edge. Like, if you had been smart enough, see, this is how you know the watchman didn't go to school, because he moved the bench was up against the wall, right? You see that? It was up against the wall. All he had to do was kind of push it and like shove it in the corner and then stand up on it straight. Instead, he goes, no, he moves it away from the wall and stands on the edgemost, like, edge. I don't know how else to put it, of the damn bench. Of course, it's going to flip on him. Welcome to physics. The watchman was too big and heavy. No, he wasn't. He was a moron who does not understand how levers work. You turned it into a lever rather than a bench. You took a bench and you turned it into a fucking lever, essentially. Dumbass. The bed tipped up. Surprise! Oh my God. Talk about foreshadowing. I did not see that one coming. The watchman fell over, and quick as lightning, Everybody was kung fu fighting. Hooah! And quick as lightning. Ha! George ran out through the open door. Ha-cha! Karate kick. Oh, great. Now this is another potential death possibility. He is on electrical wire. Oh, that's phenomenal. Oh, this is great. Teaching kids when you, oh, God. Yeah, kids, it's not a smart idea to be playing around on fucking power lines. You will get electrocuted and you will die. Understood? Don't be like Curious George. Does the guard's uniform look like SS? No. Red pants, gray shirt, and we don't get to see his front. I think you're being facetious, though, but based on my previous comment, but haha, nice try. He hurried through the building, but thank you for the dono, by the way. I can't read that. That's Arabic and Sanskrit. And I used to read Arabic a little bit. I don't read, I don't remember what the letters are anymore. I actually learned 100 words in Arabic back when I was a kid. It was part of our mandatory education in Israel. You had to learn the language. It was 7th grade. My test was 103 or 104 words in Arabic, and I got a perfect score. I remember one word, talifun, means telephone. Like the fucking talifun that we. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I missed something. That is not a phone. That is a piss bucket. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I had it all wrong, you guys. Is that 3 mice and a turd in a piss bucket? Why is the turd outside of the piss bucket? This is bizarre. I don't know. I'm getting lost. The mice look like they don't want to leave. I guess Sally and Bo made up. Yeah, I'm naming the other one Bo. Okay. Anyway, back to the dangerous acrobatics of running around on electrical wire. He hurried through the building and out onto the roof. You can see, I think this is the window of his cell. He was on the top floor, I guess. I don't know. We can't really tell proportionally. There's a guard down there. You can see this is a prison, clearly. And then he was lucky to be a monkey. Out he walked onto the telephone wires, which is so fucking safe. Quickly and quietly over the guard's head. George walked away. He was free. Oh, okay. I like where this is going. Down in the street, outside the prison wall, stood a balloon man. A little girl bought a balloon for her brother. George watched. He was curious again. Here we go. The theme just comes back to haunt us, doesn't it? Oh boy. He felt he must have a bright red balloon. Because he's a fucking commie. He reached over and tried to help himself. Because I couldn't. But instead of one balloon, the whole bunch broke loose. And in an instant, the wind whisked them all away. And with them went our protagonist, George. That sounds like certain death. Holding tight with both hands. This mofo gonna die. If he fucking dies at the end of the story, there's no way, right? Obviously, it's a kid's book. They can't kill him. Can they? Hey, that's what I'm wondering. Where is his guardian? Okay, that's just cruel. Pete Callander. That's just cruel. Up, up he sailed, higher and higher. The houses looked like toy houses, and the people like dolls. George was frightened. He held on very tight. He doesn't look very frightened. Look at his face. He looks excited. Well, probably because he's a monkey and he doesn't understand, like, hey, if I let go of these balloons, I'm gonna turn into a monkey puddle. George was frightened. He held on very tight. That looks like a very happy monkey. The man in the yellow hat is on a list. he's on a wanted poster. Wanted dead or alive. Wanted dead or alive. Man in big yellow hat. Get on it, chat. We need somebody to make this poster. And then he just fucking lands. Okay, that's not how helium works. Okay, again, physics. What? And he's causing massive traffic congestion. Looks like multiple accidents. I hope no fatalities. I mean, all these people look like they broke their neck just looking up at George. Some of these people, I'm like, you do realize the human body doesn't bend that way, right? These cars collided. This car collided. These cars collided. What the fuck, George? Now who's committing the crimes, eh? At first, the wind blew in great gusts. It's not about the wind, it's about the balloons that he's carrying. Okay, the substance inside the balloons is what carried him upward, not the wind. It was presumably, I guess, the helium. Because if you had filled up these balloons with just regular oxygen, like your breath, they would just drop down to the ground. Like you wouldn't even, like, you would be holding the balloon and it would be like on the floor, right? The reason the balloons go up is because, well, you can, well, I'm sorry, that's a lie. That's a total lie, isn't it? Yeah. Oh my god, I'm sorry. It's late and it's like midnight. No, right. But they wouldn't float up. They wouldn't have the capacity because uh lung air is about the same heaviness, right? As we have any physicists in the crowd, about the same as outside air. You need something lighter than air to carry you upward. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to say. Free George! Free George! Free George! Free George! We need to find him and arrest him. You got it, kitty. At first, the wind, which is irrelevant, blew in great gusts. Then it quieted. Again, irrelevant. Finally, it stopped blowing altogether. What about the balloons? Hello? Anybody? Hi? George was very tired. Yeah, because I've been floating through the sky for the better part of the fucking day or week or month. We don't know how long he's been up there. Down, down he went. Because fuck physics. Bump onto the top of a traffic light. Everyone was surprised. Oh my God, Jennifer, is that a monkey? Yeah. The traffic got all mixed up. George didn't know what to do. And then he heard someone call, "Oh God, if it's the man in the big yellow hat. Where have you been, you fucking asshole? We have been looking for you." And then he heard someone call, "George!" He looked down and saw his friend. You dare call this asshat a friend? He didn't bail you out of jail. He didn't come find you. He let you out on the deck, almost let you drown, kidnapped you, drugged you, groomed you, and you call him a friend. Listen, George, you either need psychiatric assistance or you're a better person than all of us. Exactly. His kidnapper found him again, huh? All right, let's read on. He looked down and saw his friend, the man with the big yellow hat. Does he have a name, by the way? Why do we keep calling him as the man with the big yellow hat? He's the only one, by the way, through this entire book that has been consistently referred to as something that like George observes, right? Like imagine trying to get inside the head of a monkey and he's like, go to page 1. He's dangling from a tree and he looks down and he's like, "Ooh, big yellow thing on top of this like male looking figure. Man, big yellow hat, man with a big yellow hat." And then he ends up in his house and he's like smoking a pipe and dialing numbers the next morning. Like, none of that shit makes sense. But the one thing that is consistent, I just figured it out, you guys. George is still in the jungle. He never left. He accidentally stumbled upon some mushrooms, psilocybin. The big yellow hat is like big yellow mushrooms. He just ate some shrooms. He's tripping. He's fucking tripping balls. I just solved Curious George. Has Curious George ever been solved before? Curious George has just been fucking solved officially. George is tripping. He's on fucking shrooms. How else can he be dialing numbers, smoking a pipe, almost drowning, thinking he can fly? Like he's still in the jungle. This is all in his head. He's fucking tripping balls. Oh, thank you very much, Robin Losi. You need a second job reading books to children at your local library. Oh, thank you. I just not analyzing them, not philosophically, because then it'll be like, listen, child, let me tell you something about Blue's Clues. All right, Blue ain't got no fucking clue, and let me tell you why. Sit down. Like, do you have an hour and a half of your time? Oh man, kids will be like, mommy, I don't want to listen to that man anymore. He hurts my ears and my head. He makes me think and stuffs. George is tripping. George is fucking high. The big yellow hat is maybe like he dropped a banana. He's been eating mushrooms and it's a big. That's why it's yellow. Parents would be like, "Yeah, kids are gonna be crying." Parents would love. Oh, parents would love you. No, I could if I just toned it down. Just actually read without analyzing, possibly. All right. George was very happy. Yeah, I'm re-kidnapped. Fucking hey, dude, I'm telling you, the boy's fucking tripping. The girl, boy, whatever, is fucking tripping balls. He's like, my kidnapper is back. Hooray! Like, those clapping monkeys. Like, that's literally probably what he was like in his head. Like, I get re-kidnapped. Thank God I'm not floating through the air anymore. Woohoo! What? George was very happy. The man was very happy too. Yeah, my prisoner is back. What's up? Hey, welcome back, prisoner. I missed you. Um, I need you to make me money. Look, doesn't he? Now he's wearing a white hat. By the way, the man in the big white hat. And oh God, what do you call those things? The Texas not bow tie, the Texas tie. Oh, fuck, I forget what it's called. A bolo, a bolo. He's got a bolo. Now he's a man in a big white hat. George was very happy. The man was happy too. Notice how it's not the. Oh wait, hold on. George was very happy. The man was happy too. George slid down the post, and the man with the big yellow hat put him under his arm. Then he paid the balloon man for all the balloons. Okay, first off, I have more questions. I have more questions. Stockholm syndrome. Yes, I think so. I think George is, I mean, he's in the middle of nowhere, right? He's surrounded by strangers. He's in a scary place. He wants to go back to his captor. I mean, that's literally the definition of Stockholm syndrome. Um, I have more questions. Okay, number one. So why is George happy? I think we just answered that. He slid down the post, and the man with the big yellow head put him under his arm. Okay. First off, this is not the man with the big yellow hat because now, I mean, is George still referring to the man with the big yellow hat as the man with the big yellow hat because he recognizes like the contours of his face? Because now he has an average sized white hat. It's no longer a big yellow hat as we saw in Act 1, Scene 1, right? Actually, or is it also? Wait a minute. Oh, now who's tripping? Your boy's tripping, y'all. It was white. Okay. All right. Okay. 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 All right. They didn't have yellow in 1941. They just the color yellow didn't exist. Another plight of the white man, right? White privilege. They're like yellow, fucking. That's like some Chinese shit. Put some white in there. Call it yellow. 1941, folks. This is 1941 books. So the man with the big yellow hat. How did he find the balloon man? That's my question. That's right. Oh my God, Robin, good observation. The cover of the book is yellow. So was that a later added addition? Was it later added? I have more questions. It's the Mandela effect. It's got Lori, you got it. That's the answer. It's the Mandela effect. Oops. George was very happy. The man was happy too. George slid down the post. The man with the big yellow hat put him under his arm. Then he paid the balloon man. How did he find him? I take a drink as I pause for reflection. First off, when George initially grabbed the balloons, he floated up into the sky, right? Never to be seen again ish. Was it a few minutes? I mean, this gust of air, allegedly, that defies the laws of physics that just blew him away, right? Wouldn't helium continue to rise indefinitely until either the balloons pop and he drops to the ground at the rate of 52 meters per second, right? Is that the. I remember very little from like college physics, but I think I remember that that's accurate. So he would accelerate, and eventually he reaches a point of maximum acceleration, and he's flying down at an excessive speed, and there would be nothing left of our poor protagonist, Curious George. But I guess my question is, okay, let's say he did eventually land. I mean, how long was it? Was it a few seconds? Was it a few minutes? Was it a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, a few months? I mean, he clearly landed in the same city because he landed on a traffic post, and the man with a big yellow hat apparently knows how to teleport. I don't know. He just appeared out of nowhere, right where George was. Maybe the man with the big yellow hat orchestrated the whole thing. And by the way, isn't he also now aiding and abetting a felon? The man with the big yellow hat is now also aiding and abetting George in a felony because he is an escaped convict. He's now aiding and abetting an escape 2 charge. Oh my God. This guy is a criminal of the highest caliber. He's committing crimes all over the place. He must be some protected entity. Lo and behold, he's going to turn out to be like the fucking governor of this town. All right. So he magically found the balloon. I guess there's only one balloon man in the entire city. So he went and found him, paid him for all the balloons. Okay. And then George and the man climbed into the car. And at last, away they went. If you tell me back to the zoo, or to the zoo now. Yep. To the zoo. It literally is the next to last sentence. To the zoo. What a nice place for George to live. I hope you're still stoned, George. I really, really hope this is a mushroom trip for you, bro. Because, great, you've given plastic and string to all the other animals in the zoo so they can choke on it and possibly suffocate. No. No, I am very disappointed in this ending. This is how it ends. This is it. There's no more end. What a nice place for George to live. End. All right, I'm going to create my own ending. You guys ready? This is what really happened. So George ended up at the zoo. The man with the big yellow hat dropped him off at the zoo, and all the other animals rejected the balloon theory. They said, "No, thank you. We do not want a balloon. Balloon is a pollution to the environment. We do not want a balloon. We do not like a balloon. We appreciate it if you would not shove these balloons in our face. Thank you very much, George. And go back to your little tree house over there." And George sat in the tree and pondered his life choices. How unfortunate it was that he was kidnapped, and the next thing he knew, he felt a light tap on his head. It was kind of like this. He felt a little tap, like, and he opened his eyes, and he kind of sat up, and he was like, "Where am I?" And he looked, and he saw, oh, hey, it's Miss George, his girlfriend. He was at the jungle. "Have you been eating those funny mushrooms again, mister?" Curious George felt very embarrassed. He did not want to admit that he has consumed drugs in the past 24 hours because he didn't know when Mrs. George was going to drug test him again. He did not want to go through that whole ordeal with her. It's been traumatizing before, and his parole officer is going to be very upset as well with him if he tests positive. But I believe psilocybin does not come up in drug tests. As far as I know, I don't know any drug laboratories that test for psilocybin. So Curious George was actually excited about that fact, because if Mrs. George was going to rat him out, he's going to be all right. And Mrs. George looked at Curious George and said, "You go and take out the trash and do the dishes right now, young man." And so off George went, realizing that I will never be touching that stuff ever again, because it really messes up the mind. The end. That's my ending. George is back in the jungle. That's where he belongs. He never left. He never left. Happy ending. Encore to what? There is no George Part 2. Okay, in theory, I could have read this book probably in about 7.5 minutes flat, and it took me an hour and 10. Yeah, that's the moral of the story. Don't do drugs and don't kidnap anyone, period. I mean, learn from, what's his name? The guy who was just convicted, not Stewart. I can't, Summers. I knew it was an S name. When's our next book? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Amber Heard rent free in Larry's head. I think you mean lives in, or lives rent free in Larry's head. At least if you're going to insult me, try and be like grammatically correct, for fuck's sake. Amber Heard ran free in Larry's head. Like, you sound very, very stupid when you say it like that. But hey, listen, if this is how you want to sound, you're more than welcome to it. Oh, there you go. Thank you for fixing it. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you fixing your grammar. Oh God, he actually fixed it. Oh my God, this is the dumbest thing ever. I love it. Oh God. All right, you guys. Thank you all so much for joining me. I had a great time reading Curious George. Maybe we should do this more often. I seriously, when I undertook this task, it was very random, and I was like, this is going to be a whole lot of fun. But at the same time, I was like, well, hold on, let me turn on subscribers only so that shit goes away. There we go. So yeah, no, this was very, very fun. I was trying to add, obviously, a little character, a little color to Curious fucking George. It is a depressing story, you guys. I've never read it before in my life. Like I said, I read some books as a kid, but never Curious George. And that was so unexpectedly depressing. I mean, I have never seen so many felonies committed so quickly in one little 27-page book, including the cover, like 26-page book, not including the cover. There was literally a felony pretty much on every page. Like, it was kidnapping, attempted murder, negligent care. There was, calling the fire department and announcing a fire, calling about fire when there's no fire. There was theft of balloons. There was um, aiding and abetting an escaped felon. There was a re-imprisoning of the felon. I mean, come on. How many felonies can you commit in one story? And our author, Mr. Ray, I think it is like, let me show you. I want to know what he or she was on when they wrote the story. That's what I want to know. Because it may have been, it may have been just as simple as booze. It doesn't seem very complicated, but this dude or this gal were not sober when they wrote it. No way. Especially the illustrator, they arrested the telephone. And they gave Alarm Elmo an orgasm. Like, come on, man. And Lucy from Disenchantment teleported 81 years in the past. That's pretty impressive, all right? Happy birthday, Tanya. Sorry, is it your birthday today? For real? You should sing for my birthday. Fun fact, the Happy Birthday song, the one that was written by the Hill Sisters in the 1890s, was written in my building. The Hill Sisters are actually from Louisville. Fun little fact for you all. And the building that I bought, where my law firm is now housed, they wrote the song. And I have a conference room in that room now. Like, I'm going to put a little plaque, like a commemorative plaque. This is the room. When we bought the building, the previous owners told us. And I researched this, and it's 100% true. And I own the building where the Happy Birthday song was written in, which I think is really freaking cool. Because what are the odds? The building, in fairness, the building was built in 1853. Okay, thereabouts, and it's old. It's old, but it's still standing and standing strong. So let's all get together and sing a happy birthday song to Tanya, the tiny spider monkey ninja. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Feel free to clip that. Happy birthday, dear Tanya, the spider monkey ninja. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. You can blow out your candles now. All right, you guys. I'm going to sign off here. It's been fun. I'm serious. My eyes have tears. I've been laughing and crying so much with you all. This has been fantastic. Very unexpected. Like I said, I didn't know how this was going to turn out. And I'm glad it did the way it did. So thank you for joining me. I love each and every single one of you. It has brought so much joy to me, and I hope it has brought joy to you. We will probably do this again. I don't see a reason why not. It's been absolutely so much fun. So I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and I will see you all definitely tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific. Morgan Tremaine, Spicy Draco, TMZ guy, 15 Minutes of Fame Tremaine, the roaster of Elaine's, is going to be back here on my channel for another video. We are going to be watching together and reacting together to the VMAs, the Music Video Awards, or whatever it is. I don't even know. I don't even care. I never watch them. I'm just going to watch them because you guys want to watch them and you want to see us react. So 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow, Morgan and I are going to be right here on this channel. Don't forget, if you haven't already, like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel. I love every single one of you, and I will see you in the next video tomorrow. Bye, everybody.